Good. How's everybody holding up?
Same,
Eh,
Karen, the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
My answer always the same.
I
Yeah.
know. We're finding a way. We're finding a way to
We
get
are.
through it.
Yeah.
We're here. And to all our friends, hi, and thanks for joining us. It's
Yes,
good to see
thank you.
everyone. Um, we've been talking about divorce. The episode that you saw last was about divorce and a heavy one. Divorce is heavy and lots to talk about. And Beth, I know you were talking about that we went deep and it wasn't easy. We're going to continue on. There's still lots to talk about with divorce, so many different facets, and we're going to continue on with that. We may even end up doing another one. Who knows? We've had a lot of great feedback from people, so we want to keep on this and help you get through it, or talk about it and help heal whatever the case may be. Now, I know Beth, when we were chatting earlier, you said you had somewhere you wanted to start with, so please go
Right.
ahead.
So I just so when my divorce started, my first separation, I was in pretty much in bed for 8 months. I did not get off my couch for 8 months. That was I very much understood it was like a death. It was
Absolutely.
absolutely like a death. So I had to take the time to mourn it. I'm probably at some level, I don't know if you ever fully finish mourning it, but definitely those 8 months were horrible. They were horrible. And Karen, you mentioned before, like you physically
Yeah.
hurt. You
It feels like
physically
like
hurt.
when you said a death.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It
yeah.
ages you.
Oh,
It it brings you to a place that you never thought you'd be physically feeling, emotionally,
yeah.
with nothing left. And it's like having a funeral. It's
That's
like
right.
having and I'll just interject and interrupt. I remember, and it was so long ago, but with you guys all coming to me
Mhm.
when you heard, and it was
Yeah,
so long ago, but bringing food and
yeah,
stuff for the kids, and I felt like I was dressed in black, and I felt like I was receiving
yeah.
condolences. But you know what it is? It's the death of a marriage, of a relationship, of something that is no longer.
Well, it's the depth of a life. Your
Yeah,
marriage,
Yeah.
that is a life. That was a life.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
and I think like people, it needs to be respected as that. I
Yeah.
mean, you need the time. There almost should be like a like mat leave and sick leave and death leave. There should be a divorce
There
leave,
should. And there
right, for
should be
women.
divorce showers and there should
Right.
be divorce
Yes,
parties and
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. And although
Sure.
we had a very we what was tough is because it was something that we really both didn't necessarily, when I say we didn't want at the time, we knew it was the right thing, but there's a lot of love still there.
Mhm.
So when I was speaking to one of the wonderful women in my life at that time, and still is, my business partner at that time, who's a really dear friend of mine still, she would say to me, because she had been through it, she said, what's going to happen is there's this cycle and it's nice, nasty, vicious, nice, nasty, vicious. And I'm like, no, that won't happen. Not I'm like,
Mm.
no, that's not going to happen because we're really co-parenting really well, and we're still really great friends. And well, it does happen. It does happen because emotions are different at different times for both of you. And you're dealing with stuff at different times. You're dealing with your kids, you're dealing with um again the emotions of, oh my gosh, it was hell. It was hell. That's
Yeah.
the truth. It
Yeah.
really was. And
Yeah.
it could get so mean and so hurtful. And you're right,
Yeah.
when Mary mentioned last time, it's this place where you're with this person who you were the most intimate in your life, most open in every way possible, and now you become this, it's like an open wound almost, right? And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have the ability just to kind of keep picking that scab. I don't mean to say it like that, but they're the only people in the world at that point who have that kind of ability to do
Ability.
that.
Yeah.
And it's
Very true.
navigating your way and giving yourself that time to mourn. And I know, as Mary has said before, and I know with me too, I needed space. I needed space. I couldn't, I just,
Mm.
and I would definitely suggest for women who are starting to go through it, take your space. Like if this
Mm.
is the decision, that is the decision.
Yeah.
Take your space, take your time, get your head together.
What I'll jump in on here is another part of what we are going to talk about is the divorce ending because of infidelity or being cheated on,
Mm,
which I was, and
mhm,
he actually left for another woman,
mhm.
which was the most searing pain physical pain that you could ever feel, I think.
Mhm.
Again, I remember at the time thinking afterwards, if he had died, he would have died loving me.
Mhm.
I would still have that memory. So this funeral that I'm having, everyone would be giving condolences, and you can have a whole different look at it through your own eyes and through everyone else's eyes. Oh, and what a great no. You left, and you left not loving me.
Yeah.
And words that were said of I never loved you, and all the different things that it was so long ago. And when I talk about it, it's
Mhm.
as if I'm that same young
Mhm.
disaster and what got me through. My sister, who was my best friend, was my savior throughout
Mhm.
that. She was a baby just getting married, but helping me through it all and continuing through all the years of helping with the kids. Um, we'll get to the girlfriend part again. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. So being cheated on, being betrayed, how you come back from that, how long it takes to try and trust again, how long
Oh,
it takes to get your self esteem back, to
mhm.
feel good.
Right.
It's like a death. Like
Oh,
I lost a parent. We lost our dad when we were very young. I was 18 when
yeah,
he was, as you know,
yeah, same.
um, and recently, again, last year, lost our mom. And when when I was so young and my dad passed, I didn't know that feeling of pain would ever leave.
No,
I was just thought that was going to be my life now. It's
yeah,
like I will have this enormous hole in my heart,
yeah,
and that's
Yeah.
just the way life will be. And time is an
Yeah.
amazing thing. So when you say I don't know how I got through it, and
yeah,
it really truly, it was the last thing I wanted to hear from anybody, because at that
Mm.
time the thought of like even one more minute in the pain,
yeah,
let alone them saying, in time, like I just thought, no,
yeah.
I'm not going to be able to make it.
Nobody wants
This
to
is
hear
going,
it. No.
it's too hard.
Well, a few things I want to jump in about is one
Hmm.
thing when you were talking about sometimes there's not a clean ending. So stuff piles up and someone makes a decision to leave, right? So
Hmm.
I'm just saying. So I feel like in my situation, I decided to end the
Hmm.
marriage,
Yeah.
and it was like I felt like there was this huge like again, I had amazing support from my family and friends, and I everybody, like I'm not talking so much there, but it was this constant diatribe, like you broke up a family, you
Mm.
broke up a family, you broke up a, and it's like there's no, it's very hard to describe what that kind of whittling that can happen over time to where
Hmm.
you get to a place where you know what, this just doesn't work for me anymore, right? And so to have that kind of kind of and I get it from a lot of places, is just like, oh, you kind of, it was that sense of you broke up your family,
Yeah,
and it redlines me to a place of because it's so unfair,
yeah,
and I what I would say oftentimes, and again, I always have great friendships and people I love in my life, and but I just feel like it's that kind of consistent, and I know it was my own, I beat myself up about that for long enough,
but
right?
it
So it
does,
was
it chips away at your very
chip. Oh,
being.
it's just
Whatever it is, it just
absolutely
chips
chips.
away. Yeah,
And what Beth was saying too, though, about that mean or that nice, nasty, mean, again, going
yeah,
through that cycle, I
yeah,
had to stop all
Hmm.
communication, because for me to establish boundaries
Hmm.
again in a place where that was grayed for so long,
yeah,
it was like I just couldn't. So it was just, I had to stop, where in it. And so as you're saying, that sort of going from that level of intimacy to then this sort of place after where it's this
yeah,
really to then nothing,
yeah,
and you have kids
yeah,
and you have a life and
yeah,
work and
yeah, yeah,
I found that just yeah, breaks your whole, it breaks your soul, right? It
yeah.
just
Your
really
spirit, it breaks
breaks
your
your
spirit, and
spirit.
it's
Yeah.
it takes a lot to come back from it.
Yeah.
And because we are women, we usually do find a way. Sometimes it's a longer road for some than it is for others. Some may still not be there, and that's what we
Hmm.
will need to work on. That's why we want to do this, so that we can all understand what it feels like. Um, if you haven't gone through it yourself, if you have, like, I know my sister commented, she went through it with me, and she
Hmm.
saw that you've gone through it with each other, and you saw that, and
Yeah.
you can see what it does to somebody, and to find to know that one day there is another side. It's like menopause. You do come out on the other side. How long it takes? Did it take the financial part of it?
Mm,
That can be
mm,
you know, and for me, I don't know. I know things are different now because I watched Marco go through it, but almost 30 years ago, they didn't have the same look at divorce in the law that they do now. But the process of going through all that, and you feel so alone.
Mm,
And then, yes, you do have children, and mine were little, but doesn't matter what age they're, you still have to be a mother. You still have to take care of them. You still have to feed them. You still have to make
yeah.
sure that they're okay and that they don't look at you like you have two heads because you feel like you have two heads.
Mm.
So there's so much, there's even more, and there's extra to it. Does it make us stronger in the long run? Yes. Does it jade you?
You know what?
Yes.
Yawn. I'm sorry. Yawn with
Oh,
the whole stronger. Sorry. I'm
yeah.
so done. You're
What
so
choice do you
strong,
have?
Beth. You're so
Yeah. What
exactly. What
choice do you have?
alternative do you
What
have?
choice do you have?
You
Yeah,
have two kids.
exactly.
You've got
Well,
to take care of them. You've got finances.
Yeah.
You've got bills. You
absolutely, you're
what
right.
what alternative do
Choice
you
do
But
have?
you
you
So
know
you know
what?
have?
what in
There are people who don't get there because they don't have that strength. You do have to find it. Now, and if you're one of the ones like me who was watching the other side live their life and go travel and have a new life and a
Mhm.
bunch of new lives, bunch of new girlfriends and wives over the years. I think we're on number 4. But to watch that while you can't even
Yeah.
buy a coloring
I
book
had
for
to
your
slide
kid.
that
Yeah.
in.
Don't know who's watching. It's all good. It's all good. Like I said, it's been
There.
almost 30 years. So it is what it is.
But there's yet those little whistles.
Every now and then, got a little
Okay,
nit,
got it.
just a
Got it.
little. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? And even now, I just laugh. Like, are we amicable? Yeah. If we see each other, hey, how's it going? I've nothing. There's no feeling.
yeah.
There's no feeling, and that's actually something else I want to touch on because I don't know if it's the same. If it's the same for you guys or anyone else out there. I loved that man, that boy, man, whatever we were, so much that I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
He was my breath. He was my everything. And when he
Yeah.
left, I literally thought I was going to die. I wanted to die. I had children. I couldn't. I remember having a hard time finding breath.
Yeah.
When it was over, and I asked, I don't know how many times, come back. We have family. I did the whole on your knees begging basically until I was told, making memories with someone else. And I just went, okay, stop it. Stop it, Karen. What the hell? Who are you?
Yeah.
Who come back? Stand up and go, are you kidding me? And once I did that, once I accepted it, and I had to go through the grief, and I went through the anger phase, the anger and the hatred for so long, had to let that go too because it was poison. And then I just had to accept it. But when I did, there was no feeling. I could not, and I still can't fathom how I could love someone so much and go to literally flatline. Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. I see him. Hey, how's it going? There's nothing. How do you do that? How does that happen? When something so precious gets broken so badly, it's just over. I know for me, there was nothing left. I
Mhm.
just,
Well,
all I wanted was be good to the kids. That's all. I don't
Right.
care who you're with
and
or what you
again,
did.
I think again, like you said, care, process, but I think there comes a point where that does become where like I feel like I'm a different person than I was then. So I
Absolutely.
Yeah.
think it's like we wouldn't even fit anymore. Like it
No,
just doesn't work.
no.
So when I look at, and again, father of my kids and did like a lot of whatever. But my point is it's not the same feeling. And you're
No.
right, to have loved someone so deeply for so many years, and share again so much of your intimate self with someone,
Yeah, yeah,
and then to think that you could actually not feel that way
yeah.
forever.
Mhm.
But I know I'm not the same person.
No,
And
no.
and I also feel like there's a whole, that road to forgiveness,
Yes.
it's a long one, right? So I felt like, and I remember Beth and I, because again, I was 54. I know I said 56 and I don't know why that
Oh, that's
number, but I was 54.
yeah.
But I remember thinking it's like that place of like that anger. I just never thought I'd get rid of it, and the
Yeah,
blame and so to
Yeah.
actually have your heart be able to open up again,
yeah,
to sort of
yeah,
forgive this person, right? And yourself, because ultimately it's right.
yeah.
And to sort of have not
It's a heavy
horrible
burden
oh, it's
to carry.
that's the
It's
freedom.
heavy.
That
Yes.
is freedom, to sort of
If
say, you
you
know
can
what,
find a way to
if you
get
can.
to
And
say, okay, I forgive you, I forgive me, I forgive us.
us, and it
Mhm.
was, yeah, and that's to me more so than than anything else was really liberating, right?
Yes,
Is
Beth,
that
you
sort of
said it. You said it in the
right?
last in our last episode about it. It ran its course. It was over. That it took the time. It was up. It was done.
Yeah.
It's like it that book finished. That chapter, the last chapter was the last page of that book,
Mhm.
and it
Yeah.
closed and it finished. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Whether it was mutual. So we
No.
have to forgive ourselves if we didn't do it at the right time, or if it
Mhm.
happened without us wanting
Amen.
it, whatever it is. We have to forgive ourselves, not just them. It's over and move on. I don't care, but forgive yourself.
Just to go back, I think you guys both talked about financially how things laid out with you guys in your way. I didn't, and the reason when my ex left the home, at that point we had pretty much zero equity in that home. We had there just wasn't. So what I was always grateful for, he didn't force the sale at that time, so it allowed me the time to for a few years to recoup and allow stuff to build. So that's kind of how what happened there. So
So again, a decent, more
it was
amicable and
very much, yes.
supportive. You
No,
were
and you
very
know what,
lucky then.
I was very
Yeah,
absolutely, I was
yeah,
very lucky. I was very lucky.
yeah.
um
That's
and
awesome.
that there was a respect there for me, absolutely. I think an acknowledgement, I will say, which I'll always appreciate, and ultimately it benefited our children. So some of the steps in divorce,
Hmm.
right? So denial,
Hmm.
right? When it first
Mhm.
happens, shock, and that's we've been there. um Conflicting emotions, of course. Bargaining, I hated that state, the bargaining and emotional bargaining, that about, it's like, oh, or just being okay with everything because you want not to, make things either worse or hope, whatever, for whatever reason, you're just that whole place where you're bargaining on who you really are,
Hmm.
right? And then it gets to the part of letting go. Then it gets to the part of letting go, and that part between bargaining and letting go, that's something that um you know nobody can tell you how long that's going to be,
No, no.
right? Because it's
And
such
some
a
people get there
personal
and some
journey,
people don't. Yeah.
right? It's such a personal journey, and then once you let go, it's the acceptance, and then once you can accept it, as you guys were saying, and it's that you really feel that almost release, and it's almost a actual it is, you actually feel it. You wake up one day in your bed and you're like, wait a
Yeah.
second, this feels
Yeah.
really different. Things just kind of are fine,
I
they're right.
remember the moment. I remember the
So,
moment.
yeah,
I
so do
remember
I.
sitting outside on my balcony at the apartment in a freezing cold temperature because we lived in an apartment all of a sudden. I was still smoking.
Yeah.
The kids were asleep in their cribs, beds, and I was watching the ball drop New Year's Eve by myself, wrapped in a
Oh.
blanket, having a cigarette, and tears were literally freezing on my face because I was shaking, having a smoke. And I remember watching that ball drop going, this is no way to live. This is no way to live. This
Oh.
is poison running through your veins. You got to let this go. You have
Mhm.
to forgive that it's over and you don't want him back and you're going to find a way to pull up your socks and go from there. Now that doesn't mean there was not a lot of years of hell after. There were, but on the me part, on the
Yeah.
me and him part,
Yeah.
finally realizing that it was over.
Because I just
Mhm.
want to add to that forgiveness part, right? Because it's like some people go through really terrible things in a relationship, and
Yes.
like, so I don't want
Yes.
to. It's
Yes.
not. It's
Yes.
about. It's
100%.
ultimately forgiveness for yourself.
Self,
Yes.
Because
exactly.
I mean
Yes.
that's a struggle. I think sometimes when right, somebody goes through a very difficult time, especially if it's at the hands of someone else. So
Yes.
it's
Yes. You're right. You're
so
absolutely
again,
right.
so I think in the where it's for yourself,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? It's not
Mhm.
about for the other person, but also, just what that frees up for you.
And you don't have to ever forgive that other person, as far as I'm concerned. If
Mhm.
it's but for yourself to move on,
Yeah.
don't hold on to it alone. Don't
Yeah.
hold on to it alone. Reach out and get some help, get some advice, get some guidance, and find a way to be free, to free yourself of it and live your best life.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where girlfriends come in again, getting each other through this.
Yeah.
And if you're not divorced, thank God, God bless for you.
Yeah.
And you're in a happy marriage, wonderful. You have friends and family and people who you know that have gone through it or are going through it. We need each other.
That's
Me
right.
So
either.
thank you,
We need
girls,
to.
and thank
Thank
you to
you.
all of you
Thank
who
you.
all know who
Yes,
you
thank you
are.
all. Great
Yeah,
friends, and
yeah,
it's true, whether they're married, single. Yeah,
yeah,
been blessed with many great
Yes, we
friends,
have.
yeah,
and our family.
yes,
Honestly,
yeah.
we've been so lucky.
We don't have a lot of time, so it looks like we're gonna have to probably jump in on another one. But meeting new people that are in similar situations, that you can have new friends
Yes.
because you don't have the same teams anymore, and you
Yeah,
don't have that same life, and you don't feel as comfortable, and you have to find ways to make time for yourself as a woman with girlfriends. But you have to have girlfriends who have the ability to share their life, meaning away from their husbands and kids,
yeah,
to take time to give to you. It's a whole big mishmash. And even now, at the ages we're at, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we have more to offer each other than when we were in our 20s, as far as knowing that doesn't matter if I'm married and you're divorced, I know what that's like. So we
Mhm.
get each other through it. So
yes,
I think the community part of this
It's
is
huge,
huge.
so
huge,
important.
Yeah.
So
absolutely
important.
Absolutely.
huge.
So
I just
reach
want to.
out.
Yes, I want to say one thing. Just a quick thought. Um, Marianne Williamson, when I love listening to her, she's incredible. She was in Course in Miracles. She refers to A Course in Miracles. Anyway, there's this one thing she was saying, and it was exactly how I felt when I was going through my divorce. She's like, you feel like this pebble in this ocean. So you're this pebble in the ocean, and you're scared because you're just this small pebble. And it was the same way I felt when I was in my bed, right? It's like all of a sudden I'm in this big bed, and I'm this like
Tiny little
sad,
pebble.
yeah, a little bit sad. So anyway, I then as she reads on, as you listen further, she's like, yeah, I'm this pebble in the ocean. She's like, then all of a sudden it's literally this shift in thinking, and it's like, wait a sec, I'm a pebble in this freaking ocean. I've got the freaking ocean behind me, and
Yeah,
I get to be a part of this ocean. How
amen.
lucky am I? How powerful am I as this little pebble to
In a huge
have
ocean.
that behind you? And that's what support is.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It does, it's there to lift you up. It is there. And so take advantage of it, get it where you can, whether it be friends, books, what, here, wherever.
Well, thank you for joining us,
Thank
guys.
you.
thank you. Love
We'll
you
see you
guys. Thank
soon.
you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.